What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're having a look at the brand new treasure map against Luffy. Luffy is the boss, however, SULONG BEPO is going to be the Intrusion boss in this event. So SULONG BEPO, I actually think this is a relatively good free-to-play unit. Artwork looks phenomenal, by the way. This character works really well, obviously, with the brand newly released Versus Trafalgar lore, and basically with the way that this unit is kind of built, you basically want to have this character in the middle right position of your versus lore team, and then use the lore special when you have a full team of strikers to make that middle right position become the captain during the middle of a quest, because if you do that, you get access to his really good captain ability here. If you do opt to use him naturally as a captain, he does give you 5 turns of cooldown at the start, 4.25 times attack to powerhouse and striker, 1.3 HP, recovery slots being matching. But then it says that if this character was becoming the captain during the middle of a quest, powerhouse and striker get a further 1.3 attack bonus, which I believe equates to like a 5.25, something like that. It's in the 5 times realm, which is pretty solid. And it also allows your crew's normal attacks to ignore defensive effects and cancels your own crew's defensive effects. It's essentially the Sulong effect, where you can bypass enemy defensive effects with normal attacks, so you can go through barriers, thresholds, damage reductions, nullifications. Pretty solid, honestly. The one thing I am disappointed though with is this character's special ability really doesn't change from the base form. The thing that they have added is that he now will add final tap bonus damage to powerhouse or striker, so that does synergize with Trafalgar lore in some facets, and he also does some reduction of attack down or something in this kit, but it's a long effect here. But essentially you can use his special over and over again to remove a bunch of rainbow shield on the enemy side of the field. Like, he's fine. I just think that you're probably going to use him in weird scenarios to make him become the captain to bypass defensive effects. That's literally the only use case I can see for actually using this guy. The special ability is just a little mediocre in my opinion. It's very hard to get that last effect, to get the 3.25 times chain boundary, because you need to use your special like 3 times and then use it again. And he does have triple special launch, which is good, but it means you have to use his special like 3 times, charge it 1 more time, and then use it to get the chain boundary. I believe that's how it works. If I am wrong about that, then this character is actually pretty solid. But yeah, I just think that there's not a lot of use cases for Beppo right now, which is a little unfortunate. But I digress. We're not here to talk about Beppo specifically, although he is a part of it. You know, you can go ahead and super evolve him in this event. This treasure map does have a couple of interesting things. In this event, what they've actually done is that they have changed the point boosters in some facet. Now, this is honestly, you can take positives and negatives out of it, honestly. I don't really know personally where I sit with it. I think, honestly, it is a little bit of a bad thing, but this is what's happened. What they've done is that the new rare recruits in the Seraphims, Stussy, and Luchikaku, all of them are now 2 times point boosters. Now, we don't know if this is going to be a mainstay moving forward. If it is, then it's interesting. But basically what it means is that no matter which one you pull, you're going to be getting a 2 times bonus, so that's cool. But the problem is that beforehand, Luchikaku was like a 2.5 times multiplier, so they've bumped him down to a 2 times multiplier. Basically meaning that if you just opt to use him as a friend captain, you technically get less points. But, you know, if you end up pulling and you get one of the rare recruits, you automatically get a 2 times bonus instead of like a 1.7 or whatever it was before. So, like, there's positives if you pull the rare recruits, but overall negatives if you are just using them as a friend captain, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a weird scenario, honestly. I just think that The problem with the boosted list is that they just need to boost more units, right? If we have a look at the boosted list, you've got the new units, you've got the free-to-play Beppo, free-to-play Ace, you've got the new characters in regards to the Lore vs. Blackbeard celebration, and then you've got some rare recruits and other characters from the previous celebration. That's all well and good. But then you've got Arlong, but then these are your treasure map legends, so they're all here. And then these are the other subsidiary characters that are boosted, right? So you got the Psy Straw Hats, a couple of other TM units, some really old Coliseum units for some reason, and then there's like a couple of other free-to-play units we've had in the past with Sasaki, the Blue Luffy, etc. Well, Blue Luffy's a past treasure map unit, but like Pudding and Sasaki, it's just really, really weird choices. And then they've boosted some previously released treasure map rare recruits as well. The thing is, they just need to boost more units because you just need more characters to play around with. I just think that Treasure Map at the moment is in a really bad spot in terms of building teams for the event. That desperately needs some kind of change, you know what I mean? So let's get into the teams. We've got like quote-unquote accessible teams to talk about in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, moving on to our first team is going to be versus Nami. So versus Nami, they are recommending you to use the 6+ Sakazuki, and that's pretty much what you need, and that's pretty much all you need. So Sakazuki just deals with pretty much everything by himself. He removes Despair by 6 turns, I believe it is. He does end of turn damage now with his special, and he gives you a defense down conditional boost as well as setting defense to 0, and he also removes 3 turns of barrier. So Sakazuki literally deals with everything in this fight. I have a full team here of one of every color just to get the full effects of Sakazuki's captain and special. Realistically not needed, just as long as you bring Sakazuki, that's pretty much all you need to kill this fight. Moving on to Franky as our next Battle Rush boss. The recommended units for this fight are going to be the free-to-play Ace and the free-to-play Hiyori, who is super evolved obviously from the Grand Feast Sugarfest and last Kizuna Clash. Now as for the quest guide in terms of what you need to know here, what happens is you are inflicted with 7 turns of despair, so of course your forbidden powers, your forbidden tome powers are going to be removing that. You also have crewmate special reverse by 2 turns, so your captains are not special reversed, which is why they recommend you to use Ace as the captain. Ace removes or gives you -1 cooldown to Free Spirit, is it Free Spirit, Powerhouse, and Quick, I believe it is. So with double Ace, use 2 specials, you can get your cooldown ready to go. Your captains will be given paralysis slots. Ace removes paralysis, so that's not a problem. Normal attacks only. There is a Wano slot barrier. You need 1 Wano slot to break through the barrier. And then you also get given badly matching slots, and there also is a territory. So the way that this works is when you activate Hiyori special twice, she has an effect where any Sai slot is changed into a Wano slot. Because she gets an unfavorable slot, it is a Sai slot. She changes that into Wano. That is your Wano slot to break through the barrier. Ace gets a matching slot. Ace grants color affinity boost, and Hiyori does whatever she does, right? So Hiyori and Ace deal with all the gimmicks. You just need like other characters to supplement that. Ace gives you color affinity, you can have territory stuff, so your other 3 units just get you damage, whether it be attack boost, or boost, matching slots, whatever it is, right? Ace and Hiyori deal with all the gimmicks, fill it with other stuff. The next Battle Rush fight versus Sanji. Now, I didn't want to use the new rare recruits too much, the Burgess and the Van Orga, because I know that these characters are actually a pain in the ass to get. But for this fight, they are recommending you to use Arlong. Dex, Int, and Quick get cooldown. Now, what happens here on Battle 3 is you do get a full board of block slots. Your middle row will be binded for 5 turns. Your bottom row will be stunned for 2 turns. You have the increased damage taken, so you want to have potential abilities to remove that. And you also have a barrier, 2 turns of a recovery slot barrier. And also, the enemy takes less damage if it's a type slot. So Strength, Dex, Quick, Psi, Int, they take 99% less damage. When you kill the enemy, you get dealt a 100,000 death hit. So Arlong deals with the death hit. Arlong removes the stun, so that's obviously really good. What I would suggest here is to then go ahead and use like this Whitebeard. I'm using this free-to-play treasure map Whitebeard. His special ability grants you like a bunch of bonuses for himself. Like he himself gets like a bunch of damage. And the good thing is Sanji is a sci fight, so Whitebeard can be your heavy hitter. After all of your specials have been activated, your last special to activate is Luffy. Luffy gives you a full board of recovery slots, and that will allow you to break through the barrier, basically, right? We have the Rayleigh support on Luffy to remove the bind. It's 5 turns of bind, 3 with sockets, 2 with Rayleigh. That's not a problem. Arlong deals with the stun, as we talked about a bit earlier. Arlong also gives you the damage reduction, so you can just kill Sanji without having to worry about the death hit. So I recommend going Arlong, Whitebeard, Luffy, kill. That's pretty much all you need to kill this fight. The final Battle Rush boss is versus Zoro, the Egghead Zoro, of course. Now, they are recommending you to use the versus law side of things in this celebration. So, shooters, cerebrals, and slashers, or striker, cerebral, and shooter get cooldown. And what happens here is that someone on your bottom row will become the captain for 2 turns. That is pretty annoying. Also, you get a top row silence as well, which is also kind of annoying. I believe the captain swap does occur first, so Law as your captain doesn't actually get inflicted with the silence. There's also normal attacks only, there's immunity, defense up, rainbow shield, paralysis, just really, really annoying stuff. The way that we're dealing with this is we have a couple of different things. Actually, what I would say is probably do this. Have Nami in the middle row. So Nami can remove paralysis. I believe she removes paralysis. I want to just double check that. But another thing is that Law's versus effect. Yes, she does. Law's versus effect is very, very key. So what would happen is at the start of the fight, one of these things will happen. Either Kanjuro in this case or Weevil will become the captain. And then the top row gets silenced, so you can't use their effects. And then you would use the versus effect. The versus effect of Law removes 6 turns of paralysis. And then also cancels captain swap. So Law goes back to the captain position. And then what you would want to do is Law's special ability sets enemies defense to 0 that goes through immunity. Very, very powerful. You get a bunch of bonuses as well from using Law special. And then when you have a full team of strikers on your crew, Law also switches the character in the middle right position to the captain. When Beppo is the captain, it says right here, if the captain becomes the captain during the middle of a quest, normal attacks ignore all enemies' defensive effects. So all of your characters will just go through the rainbow shield completely. Law's special ability deals with the blue shield, and that's basically it. So this team should work fine. I don't really think it's going to be that big of an issue. You don't really have to remove the paralysis with the Nami special because you do have the versus effect of Law, and you also have the Corazon support on Law to remove the further 2 turns of paralysis. Either way, shouldn't be too bad of a problem with Trafalgar Law. The issue is, though, is that if you don't have Trafalgar Law, things get a little dicey. You want to make sure that probably Beppo is in this position, and what happens is at the start of the fight, if you don't have your own Law and you're using like a friend or something like that, and the enemy's preemptive attack targets Kanjuro, you can reset the game. When you relaunch the game, it will guarantee hit this position. A little bit of a weird thing there, but that is what I would suggest, just so you don't have to worry about the captain swap scenario, is making sure Beppo goes in that captain position. But that's going to wrap it up for me for this one. Let's go ahead and move on now to the boss and the intrusion boss. Alright, so we're going to have a look at things now for the Luffy boss fight. So, one thing I want to suggest before we get into this fight, make sure that your friend captain is Lucci Kaku dual unit. In this case, I don't think it actually matters which one you start as. Probably would suggest to start as Lucci, and then to switch into Kaku, so that you can have, you know, the type advantage with Kaku, as Kaku is the dex side of the unit. Luffy is a quick boss. So, in terms of the gimmicks for this fight, what occurs here, there's a lot of different stuff going on. So it's Driven, Striker, and Fighter, I believe, that get the cooldown reduction. There's 4 different enemies on this fight, which is crazy. It says the HP of these ones. So you got Nico, Robin, Usopp, and Chopper. They all have 500,000 HP. And then there's like one other enemy that they haven't talked about. Like it's the main enemy. These are the side enemies. Now, in terms of gimmicks, there is 7-turn Special Bind, 7-turn Attack Down, 6-turn Blue Shield. And then there's also Target Lock, which is really annoying. There is an interrupt here where if the enemy has their Blue Shield completely removed, then they activate this effect of Special Reverse, removing beneficial effects and stuff. But they do allow you to remove, or not remove the enemy's defense, but they allow you to reduce the enemy's defense. Now the thing is if you reduce the enemy's defense, it does not remove the blue shield buff that they already have. So what you'd want to do is somehow set their defense to 0. What we're doing with this team is that we would activate the super switch of Lucci and Kaku, and their super switch sets enemies' defense to 0. Very, very key that happens. We would also go ahead and use the Jinbei special. Jinbei on this team removes 7 turns of special bind, so that's important. And then we'd also go ahead and use the Lucci Kaku friend captain special. By doing that, it does remove the attack down that's inflicted on this stage, and with that you can just kill. Shouldn't be a problem from that point onwards. We then move on to the final boss. Now the final boss here versus Luffy, you've got 3 enemies. You've got the Brook and the Jinbei. You've got the Luffy as the main fight. And then you've got the gimmicks here. You get 9 turns of bind on your bottom row. There is a 1-turn middle left blow away. That's annoying. 3 turns, 1.1 attack boost. You get this gimmick where you can only do 3 million damage. Now this gimmick here, for 2 turns you can only do 3 million damage. What has been said in the gimmicks, in the actual breakdown of TM, they've stated that if you actually kill the mini bosses on that stage 3, which is Brook and Jinbei, when you kill Brook and Jinbei at the start of stage 3, that effect of being able to only do 3 million damage is completely removed. So basically you want to target Brook and Jinbei first, and then you can kill Luffy. Now there's also Threshold and Rainbow Shield. This is where the friend captain of Kaku and Lucci is going to be very important. When you are in their dual form, which they will be because you use their special in stage 2, their dual form will say that whenever the enemy puts up Threshold and Rainbow Shield, remove it by 70%. This is the key because we don't want to actually remove these gimmicks. We want to use Lucci and Kaku to basically set those gimmicks to minus 70%. So that's important because they are 70% reduction, so that is going to go ahead and set them basically to 0. You can't use health cuts. There's a target lock as well, which is actually really frustrating. I wonder how that works with target lock. Because they said in the gimmicks that you have to kill Brook and Jinbei first, but there's target lock. We'll have to wait and see. And then there is an interrupt here. If you remove the Rainbow Shield completely, then they activate this gimmick, which you obviously are not going to want to do. So in terms of after you've done everything on stage 2, what you do is you'd activate the pudding special, and we have the supports of Luffy and Sanji to remove bind. The pudding special will remove the rest of the bind, and then you can go ahead and use the Kaido special. Now that won't remove the gimmicks on the enemy side of the field because we don't have a full team of Driven, but it does give us an attack boost and matching slots and all that good stuff. We'll use the Bonclay special just because we can, and then we can change his classes to whatever we want, and then because Blackbeard, because whatever, right? Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So that's just the team that should work. I don't think this has that big of a deal of getting around the gimmicks. The only thing I am a little concerned about is how Lucci and Kaku dual units effect works, because in their dual form, if they don't remove both of them, if they only remove one or the other, this team is not going to work. So it all comes down to that. Did Bandai, do us a favor where if we just use a friend captain, we're going to be fine? Or did they make it so that you have to have double Lucci Kaku? So I guess we're going to find out. But in theory, without actually using Lucci and Kaku, this team should work. And then we get to the final team of the video, which is going to be against the Intrusion battle versus Beppo. With this one, we are going to be using a friend captain, Lucci Kaku. Start the friend captain as Lucci once again. And with this one, Nami, Karina, we're going to set that as the starter of Karina. Very, very important that we do that. So in terms of gimmicks for the Beppo Intrusion fight, stage number 2, there is one turn of special reverse. Very frustrating that they've got that. There is normal attacks only. There is a tandem slot barrier for two hits. You need to hit him with 2 tandem slots to break it. There's going to be threshold, and there's going to be rainbow shield, and then we also have a territory, and you're allowed to reduce their defense and stuff like that. So the way that this is going to work is because we're starting our captain, our friend captain, as Lucci. Lucci's captain effect says when they activate Rainbow Shield, reduce 70% of it. If you start as Kaku, they remove Threshold by 70%, and then in their dual form, they do both. So what you want to do is start as Lucci. Lucci will remove the Rainbow Shield for you, and then the Nami Karina special not only deals with the cooldown reduction, because Karina gives the cooldown, I believe Karina gives cooldown reduction, if I remember. Pretty sure she does. Yeah, she does. And she also removes Threshold, so that's perfect, right? So removes the Threshold, removes the cooldown reduction, the special reverse stuff. Lucci captain ability deals with the Rainbow Shield, then Threshold with Karina, as we said, and then you can just kill. That really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Oh, what I should say as well is we are using this Blackbeard as the captain. This Blackbeard with his superclass special, it does give or change type slots into tandem. So that's going to be kind of important because we need tandem slots to break the barrier, unless if Karina removes the barrier. I don't think she does. I'm pretty sure Nami removes the barrier. I always get confused. It doesn't look like she does. I believe it's Nami that removes the barrier. Yeah, okay, so you will have to use the superclass special of Blackbeard to generate those tandem slots for you in order to get that to work. Now, after we deal with stage 2, we move on to stage 3. In stage 3, you have one turn of special reverse once again. There is a 1.1 chain lock, very, very nasty. There is a chain attack down where you need to exceed 3.75. That's a pretty nasty chain boundary, or chain attack down, should I say. 9 turns of attack down, normal attacks only. You're allowed to reduce their defense. There is also Despair by 9 turns, and if you activate a special to give cooldown reduction, they remove your beneficial effects. So be careful not to do stuff like that. So how we're getting around this is we're going to switch our friend captain into Kaku. That gives -1 turn of cooldown to driven and fighter characters, and then you get color affinity and defense reduction and stuff like that. Kaku's special removes attack down by 7 turns, removes chain lock by 7 turns, all of that good stuff. Then we'd activate the Sakazuki special. That goes ahead and removes the Despair on our crew. Shiryu gives color affinity, but more importantly removes attack down, because not all attack down will be removed. It's 9 turns of attack down. Lucci Kaku removes 7, and then the Shiryu removes the rest of it. We can then go ahead and use the Kaido or the Blackbeard, or whatever you want to do. The Blackbeard gives a chain boundary. If we've got a powerhouse or driven captain, it's a 3.0 chain boundary. We have the support of Doflamingo on Blackbeard to give a 0.5 chain boost as well, so that should give us enough chain to exceed the 3.75 times a chain attack down, which is great. Kaido's on this team because he's just a dex unit that works with Lucci Kaku and the Blackbeard captains. That's basically all he's there for. And we do have the Mr. 3 support on Shiryu, just to give some cooldown reduction, just in case, if it's not enough for when we reach the final stage. So that is it. That is the breakdown of these teams, of these quote-unquote accessible teams. yeah, treasure map is crazy. Of course, if you are able to go ahead and do this, that's awesome. Alternatively, you could just play on East Blue, where the gimmicks are much easier to deal with. So the options are open. But you know, if you are capable of playing on New World, it definitely is worth it because the rewards are better. But in terms of, you know, just being able to beat TM, sometimes it is better just dropping down into East Blue if you don't have the right units capable of beating all of these teams. And with all of that being said, that is going to wrap it up from me. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Really hope you guys appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed it, though, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you guys want to stay up to date with the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.